Data protection and privacy teams are under more pressure than ever with new laws, AI oversight, data breaches, and the constant expectation to do more with fewer resources.
That's why TrustArc built a modern privacy and data protection management platform powered by Arc Intelligence. It unifies your tools, automates the work that slows you down, and surfaces what matters most right when you need it.
From guided quick actions to our intelligent assistant, Ask Arc, you get credible, contextual answers backed by expert research, not generic AI guesses.
Finally, privacy that works the way privacy pros work.
Learn how TrustArc helps teams move faster with confidence at trustarc.com/serious-privacy. That's trustarc.com/serious-privacy.
You're listening to Serious Privacy, powered by TrustArc. Here are your hosts, Dr. Kay Royal and Paul Breitbart.
With all the hurricanes and traveling and just life happening to us, it's been a while since we've been able to update you on what's been happening in the world of privacy and data protection other than at a conference. So this is a traditional Week in Privacy episode where we will be looking back. And one of the major things that has happened, of course, in recent weeks is the re-election of Donald J. Trump to the U.S. presidency. And what consequences will that have to transatlantic relations, the relation between me and Kay and Ralph, and also to data protection? That and much more in this week's episode of Serious Privacy. My name is Paul Breitbart.
And I'm Kay Royal, and welcome to Serious Privacy. So we started the last show, or it depends on if we publish this one before the last show, that I'm going to start doing a series of either ors for our unexpected questions. So this time I think I know the answer to this one. Oh, there's some really good ones here. Let's go with, would you rather speak 10 languages or play 10 instruments?
Oh, definitely 10 languages. There is no doubt about it.
That's me too. I mean, my singing voice is so fantastic. Why would I want to play instrument?
And if you want to hear that singing voice, you should listen to the second Jersey episode to get a bit of an idea.
No, let's not go there.
But we're not going to cut that out.
No, we're going to leave that in. Y'all know I would rather learn language. I think Paul already knows 5 or 6, but I think I would like to learn. I was in a survey yesterday from the Centers for Disease Control. They're doing surveys on vaccines, and of course, I don't do vaccines, not because I'm against them, but because with my autoimmune, I definitely react to vaccines. It treats it like it's the actual disease. So I don't take them unless taking them is definitely better than not. And I don't get the flu and stuff. So my answers through most of it. But one of the questions she asks is, do you speak any language other than English? And I'm like, my standard answer is I speak redneck. She went, let me ask that question again. Do you speak any?
No habla español.
Right. I know a little bit. So,
I mean, apparently in a couple of years, it will be the main language in the United States. There will be more people speaking Spanish natively than English.
Well, now we ain't going to talk about what's going to happen in the United States for the next 4 years because the whole world was watching for our election.
Yes.
Results.
It was a bit of a shock waking up, I must confess.
It was. And we don't like to talk the polarizing politics on this show, but we all know the whole world was watching the U.S. elections. In Jersey, every single driver, every person I met was asking us about it, and not a single person supported the person who won. So it was interesting to be in that situation. My husband and I said we were not going to watch the election results come in across the country because, we've lived in Arizona and California. So typically by the time we get to our results, the rest of the country's already done. Now that we're on the Eastern time zone, we're watching them
come in
every hour, roll in across it. And we're like, we're not going to do it. We swear to God, we woke up like every hour and would both go to our phone, look and be like, well, shh, and turn around and go back to sleep.
Yeah.
It was just watching this wave of red move across the country. But there's going to be differences. There's going to be things that happen. We understand enforcement priorities are going to be different. Agency priorities are going to be different. We just have to watch and wait, see what happens. I already looked at what countries to move to in Europe. I can't bring my grandkids, so I'm kind of stuck here.
Well, I mean, there's always Canada and Mexico.
Tim says Canada's too cold.
Okay, well, there's always Mexico.
There is always Mexico. I didn't knock that one out. There are some wonderful, beautiful places in Mexico to go to. Although I did hear that even though Mexico has a privacy law, they are now getting rid of their regulators.
Well, at least of the independence of the regulators, yes.
Okay.
That's part of the very controversial legislative reform that's been ongoing for past couple of months.
Yeah.
Where also Supreme Court justices will be elected instead of appointed or selected by Parliament. So it is the populist will of the people that will actually determine who will be on the highest courts in the land. But
that's a little crazy.
Bill,
I can see for lower courts, but that's a little crazy for the highest court.
I think it's crazy to elect judges in the first place, but that's my European view, I guess. But as part of that legislation, they also end independence, and not just for the Data Protection Authority, but for all regulatory bodies and agencies. So they will be brought into the remit of the various ministries, but that fight is not over yet. It's still ongoing, but somewhere in the course of next year, possibly the data protection authorities in Mexico will lose their independence. And that is a concern. And of course, we don't have the crystal ball. We don't know exactly what will happen in the United States, but it is clear that independent rulemaking under the future administration is at risk.
Yep.
We can be certain that Lina Khan will not get a second term as chair of the Federal Trade Commission.
I think there was a letter already sent to the FTC by one of the senators saying, thou shalt not make any more decisions that the entire board would not be completely in favor of. It's like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
It started.
That's something that's changing. We've seen some very surprising appointments or nominations already. I mean, to appoint a TV host as Minister for Defense is a little surprising to me. And then to create a government efficiency department, and it needs to be so efficient that you have two people running it instead of one of them being Elon Musk. Also, that is a bit of a concern also in terms of conflicts of interests and freedom of speech and influence and power concentrated in a single person.
Yeah.
And what will it mean for the Privacy and Civil Liberties Oversight Board? I mean, the last time under the Trump administration, a lot of those seats remained vacant for many years.
Yep.
Meaning P-Club did not have a mandate, was not able to oversee, which also has an effect on any transatlantic relations. What will this mean?
It does, because what kind of oversight are we going to have for these judicial redress or anything?
What will this mean for Executive Order 141 that establishes the adequacy?
Yep.
There are a lot of questions.
More to come.
Still pending on priorities. Yes, more to come. Somehow, I'm not sure that this will result in a federal data protection law in the foreseeable future, with a hard move to the right, but we'll see.
That is true. There is some positive things moving in the U.S. lately. We've got a couple of things to update y'all on. Since we're in the U.S., I'll talk about a little bit here, though. So the FCC and the Data Protection Task Force announced an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, between its Enforcement Bureau and the California Privacy Protection Agency. So that's a MOU that's in place. The CPPA, speaking of California, is going to initiate a public review of data broker registration compliance. And I don't think Jeff Jockish or anyone tracking those registrations would say, oh, no, they're all compliant. They've all registered. I don't believe it. And so neither would most people. New York, there was a $500,000, very small, class action settlement with Squishable, Squishable.com. Following a data breach that they...
What is Squishable?
Squishables, aren't they the little squishable little animals?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Again, this may be Europe talking, but you need to explain this a bit more.
Squishable. So Squishable.com Inc. is a toy company. I believe it's the little ones that have the stuffed animals that are kind of triangular shape, and you squishmallows, I think, come from Squishable. I'm not sure. But anyway, they did not safeguard customer data. They had a breach back in 2022, and now they've agreed to settle the case. To receive benefits, anyone that was part of that needs to submit a claim before November 19th of 2024. So that's next week. See when we get this out. I actually got a notice of being part of a breach with some financial company. Can't remember. It was a bank or Credit Karma. I don't want to throw that out there that Credit Karma had a breach unless they did, but it was something to do with finances. It might have been Rocket Money. I have no idea. But I'm like, oh, another letter? Psh, whatever.
Mhm.
We're so breach fatigued. It's ridiculous. Massachusetts ruled that web browsing tracking of users does not violate the Massachusetts Wiretap Act. Now, this is interesting because this goes against what we're seeing in some of the other states, that web browsing tracking. So when you put something in a search bar and you search for it, and the information that you may have searched for combined with the identification information on your computer has also now been the subject of a lot of lawsuits filed by a couple of law firms in California for violating the California Information Privacy Act, I believe it is. So they're looking for some more creative ways to bring out some settlements. So that's going to be interesting. There was, that one's not that important, but in Pennsylvania, there's approval of a class action against the Philadelphia Inquirer,
Okay.
I believe. And so that's all that's really big, I think, going on in the U.S. right now. It's really interesting. I think now we're going to start seeing a slowdown of action. And the Republicans now have a full sweep. They have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And so this is going to be a big change in the types of laws that we're going to see. Now, that doesn't mean in every state they did. That means on the federal level. It's going to see a big change in the type of laws that we're going to see. We'll see if the Federal Privacy Act actually makes a repeat appearance this next year. Don't hold your breath.
No, I'm not holding my breath. And indeed, we've seen it before, right? Also, the first 2 years under the previous Trump presidency, they had the full sweep in both the presidency and the Supreme Court and Senate and House. So maybe in 2 years' time, things will change. But indeed, I'm curious to see what will happen, what impact all of this will have. Also, what impact this deregulation effort will have, if any.
If any.
And then we'll see.
It may mean that the Chevron decision has no impact whatsoever because things are going to change so drastically in agency decision-making and rule-making and what their enforcements. I mean, you're already starting to see investigations being dropped, even before the formal changeover of the administration. So there will be a lot to report on or not.
Yeah, indeed. So we'll keep tracking that. And as soon as more becomes clear also on who will be responsible people for tech policy, data protection, compliance, and oversight and all of that, of course, we'll discuss that on the podcast as well.
Well, let's go to Europe because I hear that there was some sort of first report under the EU-US data privacy framework issued.
Yes, and both the European Commission and the European Data Protection Board have issued their reports on the first joint review or evaluation of the data privacy framework. As you know, it's been in effect for just over a year. And the legislation prescribes that after the first year of the notification of the adequacy decision to the member states, a review was due. So they need to check whether all the requirements and all the guidelines and procedures, whether everything was properly implemented, both on the European and on the American side. And these joint reviews are what they are. They are a joint effort from the Europeans and the Americans to verify, have we done everything that we should have done?
Yeah.
So on the European side, it's the European Commission that leads, but there are also 5 representatives of the data protection community. So both national data protection authorities and the EDPS, who are part of the review team. On the US side, it's all the key agencies that are involved. So it's the Department of Commerce, Department of State, Federal Trade Commission, Department of Transportation, Office of the Director of National Intelligence, Department of Justice, the Inspector General for the Intelligence Committee, as well as the Privacy and Civil Liberties Oversight Board. So all of these people come together. There were some preparatory meetings where question lists, questionnaires are being made, and documents are already reviewed that are made available up front. But a lot of the information, of course, is also classified, secret, and top secret.
Right.
Because it's national security related, especially where it comes to the oversight of the national security safeguards that have been implemented. So those can only be reviewed in person during the review. So there was a lot of conversations. There was a lot of discussions ongoing.
Wouldn't you have liked to be a fly on the wall?
Well, I've been part of these reviews in the past, not for the Privacy Shield, but for the Terrorist Finance Tracking Program. And
right.
Although I cannot discuss the content of those meetings because that's still classified, the way that they are run is not a public secret. So from what I read from the reports, and because I've been in the room in these kind of discussions, I can also read a bit between the lines. Actually, the discussions were fairly positive, not very contentious, and everybody agreed that the implementation phase of the data privacy framework has gone well.
Good. And they noted that there were very few complaints received.
Exactly. But that's also to be expected. That was also the case under Safe Harbor and under the Privacy Shield, because a lot of people just expect these things just to go right.
Right.
And it's mainly the privacy activists who will be filing complaints to test the system. And then it also takes a bit of time before they go through the system and that you are actually able to test it. So a year is actually just too short to have any real complaints pending that require a review.
Right.
So indeed, there have been very few complaints. All the policies and procedures and implementations have been completed. So there, everybody is happy. If you look at the conclusions from the European side, they make very clear that they expect the Americans to be more proactive in their enforcement approach. So not just wait for complaints, but also themselves start looking for false self-certification. So companies who claim on their website, we are DPF certified or DPF, certified, but actually are not because they have not registered with the Department of Commerce. And also expect the Privacy and Civil Liberties Oversight Board to proactively investigate the application, both of FISA 702 and of Executive Order 14086. The PCLOB is actually also starting their first reviews of the executive order, but also they note on their website there are no complaints, so there is little we can do.
Right.
So we will mainly look at processes that have been set up, but we can't test the system as long as there are no actual complaints to look at.
I should submit a request for clarification because I have seen where there are companies out there that when a vendor actually has standard contractual clauses in place and a solid DPA, they still want them to register under the data privacy framework because it is not sufficient to just have SCCs or the UK equivalent of SCCs, which are not really called SCCs anymore. But
True.
they want them to register under the framework in addition to having those because they think it's a requirement.
They're mutually exclusive.
Right.
If you are registered under the data privacy framework, then the SCCs have no added value anymore because you can either rely on the adequacy decision or on appropriate safeguards, but not on both at the same time.
Yeah.
So then the SCCs would only be your fallback option in case the DPF gets annulled by the courts in a couple of years' time.
As Max is already trying to do.
Well, as multiple people are trying to do, I don't even believe that Max Schrems is really the one who wants to get this annulled. I think there are others who are more eager.
Yeah.
But looking at this first report, I don't immediately see a lot of ground for such an annulment yet.
Yeah.
Yet. The European side notes in the reports that they are very concerned that the update to FISA 702 did not include any of the elements of the executive order because they said it would have been much stronger if some of the elements were actually also included in the some of the elements of the executive order were included in the legislation because it's just more legal certainty. But that did not happen. There are a few things in the update to FISA 702 where the European side has concerns that it is not sufficiently clear in terms of foreseeability.
Right.
So as you may recall, according to the standards of the Court of Justice of the European Union, a citizen needs to be able to understand, based on the legislation, what they may expect and what could happen. And some elements...
The legislation is weird.
Yeah, and some elements of FISA 702 are just too vague.
Yeah.
And therefore, that creates uncertainty about the actual reach of the surveillance, and therefore, it may not actually meet the standards of clear, precise, and accessible legislation, and therefore could be a risk to the adequacy decision.
So that'll be interesting to see if we get that cleared up anytime soon either. So more to come.
Well, I don't expect it. I mean, if it doesn't happen with a Democratic majority in the Senate,
yeah,
I don't expect that there will be any significant changes in a way that the Europeans would like it to FISA 702 in the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
I think if there are changes to FISA, it will be more on an America first basis and less on a this is what Europe wants basis.
Exactly. I agree with you on that. Absolutely. In the last few minutes that we have, is there anything in particular of what's been happening around the world you want to call out, or you just want to cover just heads up some of these things are doing blank, such as let's look through the news here, and I'll tell y'all I love the new newsletter by TrustArc. They are calling it the
Privacy Pulse.
The Privacy Pulse. And the good thing is they have the links. I know that's the one thing people requested was you give us the stories, but you don't give us the links. So now that they do the Privacy Pulse, they have the links to everything. It links back to the stories in Nimity. As y'all know, raving fan of Nimity here, even before TrustArc bought Nimity. So, and of course, Paul came through Nimity to us, to TrustArc.
To them.
To them, to us, to whoever, to we. And so I like this new newsletter. If you haven't seen it, check it out. So I'll just call out some of the highlights they have here. The EU Commission said that Apple's iPad OS must comply with the Digital Marketing Act after it was added to the list of core platform services. Austria declaration on a digitalization network was signed on November 6, which includes several independent authorities, such as the Data Protection Authority, to facilitate an exchange of information experiences related to digitalization. I can't even say the word. Digitizing. Let's just put it that way.
Make it digital.
Whatever. Make it digital. Blah. So if y'all ever ask me what word can you not say, that's going to be it, right along with operationalization.
Digitalization.
Right. Just stop it. The Department for Science, Innovation, and Technology in the United Kingdom opened consultation on its AI Management Essentials tool, a self-assessment for companies to evaluate their AI management systems and procedures. So this is really cool. Go look at that. Go evaluate it. Give them some feedback. It's built on the ISO standards and NIST and the EU AI Act. So go pay attention to that. We'll include a link. Some news in Australia. Y'all know Australia's been increasing its activity, and we've got a guest lined up to bring to y'all, so I won't go into any details on that. I think we covered the Singapore and United Kingdom signing a memorandum of cooperation on AI because Singapore is issuing its AI Act. South Korea, we talked about that one as well, to remove barriers for data transfers. Latin America, Brazil.
Oh, hang on South Korea, because that's
one of them I said called them.
Yes, that's actually an interesting one, because I think you are aware that Japan was the first country to have a mutual adequacy decision with the European Union. So Europe declared Japan adequate and Japan declared Korea adequate. Just following Japan, Europe also declared Korea adequate. But that's being renegotiated now, because Korea indeed in their legislation now also has an equivalency mechanism. It's called slightly different. I forgot the exact wording.
Yeah,
but it's similar to adequacy. It's similar to adequacy. And Korea said, well, while we are reviewing...
Equivalent recognition system.
Equivalent recognition system. There you go. Equivalency. So South Korea said, while we are reviewing the EU-South Korea adequacy decision, then let's also at the same time introduce the equivalency recognition from Korea of the European Union.
Yes.
So those negotiations are ongoing. And actually, while in Jersey, the South Korean delegation met with the European Commissioner for Justice, DJ Reinders, to negotiate on that and to get an update on that process should be concluded in the early months of 2025, if the information provided at the conference is correct. So it should not take too long. And I strongly believe that this will all be finalized in any case before the Global Privacy Assembly is in Seoul next year, from 16 to 19 September.
I'll throw that in there so people know how to prepare for that one too. So, but they also, South Korea imposed a fine on Meta Platforms for violating its Personal Information Privacy Act. So go figure. They also sanctioned 2 companies, Salaried Rich People Limited.
Okay.
Salaried Rich People Company Limited. And Parkja Company. So they're being active in enforcement. And then, of course, in Brazil, they opened proceedings against TikTok for irregular practices of data processing children and adolescents that violate the LGPD. So that's common. I think that raises us up into the 60s or the 70s for the countries that have actions against TikTok. Anything else that went on really big? I mean, we're still watching laws move in Canada, watching some developments there. Don't know if they're going to happen. Doesn't look like it for this year, but they'll raise them back up.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Plus, the government in Canada is also becoming unstable.
Yeah.
So who knows when elections will be held in Canada and whether Bill C-27 will make it through before the next elections.
Yes.
Actually, the biggest thing that I still wanted to mention is that Facebook and Instagram, Meta, has made another update to their advertising model for the European market.
Yes.
They have put out a press release on November 12th saying that they have significantly reduced the price for their no ad subscription model from $9.99 a month to $5.99 a month. And they have also, for the free model, they are now having something called less personalized ads, which means that they will be using less data for personalized advertisement. And the whole press release that they put out is actually written like, this is a really bad thing because, and I quote, while this new choice is designed to give people an additional control over their data and experience, it may result in ads that are less relevant to a person's interests. And that means that people will see ads that they don't find as interesting. This drop in relevance is inevitable, given that drastically reduced data is being used to show these less personalized ads to people. So they immediately make it a bad thing to have less.
They spend a lot of money on marketing expertise to put the right spin on these things, don't they?
Exactly, because they claim personalized ads deliver more value for people and for businesses. So it is
they deliver
important.
more value for businesses because when they show me personalized ads, I go buy the thing. I don't
buy
want
things
to go
that you
buy
don't actually
the thing.
need.
Right. Wow, new sparkly shoes from Betsy Johnson. I need to go get those. Ooh, new tennis shoes from Skechers. I need to go get that. Ooh, new Joker outfit. Yeah. Ooh, new car. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So they also very strict. They very sternly state this is the second time in a year we have made significant changes to our business model in the EU to address regulatory feedback. But they continue. Well, they continue complaining that the regulators don't think it's enough. And it's just the whole press release made me laugh a little bit. Like,
oh my
okay,
goodness.
We are making changes we're making some of the changes that you want, but we are still dragging our feet. We are really not going to comply. And you keep nagging us that we don't comply.
That's a good note to end on, Paul.
Absolutely. So we do end on that note.
It's not good for you that we're going to end this podcast, but many of you have requested that we not go over 30 minutes. So we're reluctantly ending this on time for you as we need to do.
And as the regulators tell us that we should do, or what? So this wraps up another episode of Serious Privacy. Join the conversation on LinkedIn. You'll find us under Serious Privacy. You will find us on Blue Sky, also as Serious Privacy. You will find Kay on social media as Heart of Privacy and myself as Europol B. Until next week, goodbye.
Bye, y'all.
That was Serious Privacy.
If you're a data protection or privacy professional, you already know the pressure. Non-stop regulatory change, AI oversight, internal demands, and the expectation to somehow stay ahead of it all. And the old patchwork of tools just isn't cutting it anymore.
No. That's why TrustArc created a modern privacy management platform powered by Arc Intelligence. The TrustArc platform brings your workflows, evidence, research, tasks, and applications all together in one unified and intelligent workspace so you don't waste time digging, clicking, or context switching.
With Ask Arc, your privacy assistant, you can ask plain language questions about laws, jurisdictions, or even your own program data, and get credible, cited answers based on Nimity research and more than 1,000 global laws. It's explainable, transparent, and purpose-built for data protection and privacy.
So if you need to add a vendor, create a cookie banner, or start an assessment, quick actions take formally complex tasks, turn them into bite-sized guided workflows to save you time.
It's a platform that thinks like you, works like you, and helps you move faster with confidence, whether you're a seasoned DPO or you're just getting started.
See how modern privacy gets done. Explore Arc at trustarc.com/serious-privacy. That's trustarc.com/serious-privacy.